Hello North Country, and welcome to a special presentation of Hometown Cable. Tonight we're at the Surrey Lounge in Plattsburgh, New York. I'm Foxy Gagnon, and we have a special program for you. The Expos Caravan has come to Plattsburgh, their winter caravan, and what will take place is we're going to meet a number of the players here at the Surrey Lounge. We're going to talk with some of the executives about the changes the Expos have made during the off-season. And we'll also talk with some local sports fans. And who knows, maybe even Yuppie will pop in on us. So it's Petro Canada, the Expos Winter Caravan, and we hope you enjoy what we have in store for you tonight.
The beginning of a decade, the end of an era.
I'm Foxy Gagnon, and our first guest this evening at the Surrey Lounge, we have Pierre Vidal, the Director of Public Relations, and Michel Lagacé, the Vice President of Marketing for the Expos. Michel, perhaps we'll ask you first, what is planned for this evening? What types of activities do you have?
Well, actually, we, as part of the caravan, we just came over to Plattsburgh mainly to meet, to meet people, have fun. We have the players here with us. We have a good bunch. I also have our broadcasters, Dave Van Horn and Ken Singleton. So we're here to have a good time.
Very good. And Michel, there are a number of players here. I see them relaxing with some of the fans in the lobby. Who are some of the players that are here tonight?
Well, we got Otis Nixon. We got Larry Walker, who's here. We also got Ken Singleton, who's our new English broadcaster. Those are mainly the players that we got. We got also Grissom, who's with us. Marcus Grissom. So we got plenty of players. Brian Barnes, a pitcher. So we got plenty of players with us, and they with us for the winter, doing all different kind of public relation activities with us.
Okay, and there have also been some changes at Olympic Stadium. Some changes are promised for April as the Expos arrive at home. And could you tell us about some of those changes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty exciting for the fans. The home plate area has been moved by 40 feet back into where the stands used to be. We had to cut across the stands and make way for that. Which means that the entire playing field will remain the same in terms of dimensions, but it's being moved in the stands by 40 feet, which is going to bring the playing field much closer to the fans, and I think you're going to see much more actions. Other things that you will see will be some bleachers alongside the fences, probably temporary bleachers in 1991, but permanent ones in 92. The capacity of the stadium will be reduced from 60,000 to 43,000 seats, again, to make it more intimate, to have a little bit more atmosphere into the stadium, and by 1992 we'll have a full-color, state-of-the-art scoreboard. So I think in 2 years' time we'll have a stadium that will be second to none in the Major League.
And I know that Plattsburgh fans, I've been a Montreal Expo fan for a long time, and living in Plattsburgh, we've always felt a link with the Montreal Expos, and hopefully there'll be other events such as this. But during the season, do you see any other possibilities for promotions between Plattsburgh and Montreal?
Sure, we see plenty of one. Right now we're trying to negotiate some deals with some enterprise here. We got Tom Condon, a very well-known personality in the region, who's our rep, and he's taking care of all the district here for group sales, tickets, any season tickets, reception rooms that we offer to people, to association, to company to come and visit us. And we invite all the people from Plattsburgh region. It's very important, and we are proud to have you with us at the Olympic Stadium. So Tom Condon, I know he's well known, and he's going to work hard to selling tickets and bring more people at the stadium. And we would like to invite all the fans to come at the stadium.
So even though it's winter time here in Plattsburgh, we're getting ready for baseball fever.
We're only 4 weeks away from spring training.
As people continue to pour in, and we're expecting about 300 people here tonight for this business after hours is what they're calling the program. And right now Mario Goslin, the Expos organist, is getting things ready for tonight's program. We have business people, people from the media, and even out in the lobby there were some kids getting autographs of some of the Expo players. It looks like it's going to be a very nice evening. There are souvenirs over by the door. As fans come in, they receive an Expos hat and an Expos program. We've had a press release announcing Ken Singleton has signed on a 2-year contract as radio announcer with the Montreal Expos. So he's been added to their crew to work with Dave Van Horn. The 1991 baseball season really isn't that far off, and shortly we'll be talking with Otis Nixon, Brian Barnes, Larry Walker is here tonight, Marcus Grissom. We're now talking with a former Major League player and a star during his playing days, Ken Singleton. And the Expos had some exciting news to announce today that, Ken, you've signed a contract to become a permanent part of the Expos broadcast team. Would you tell us about that, please?
Well, I've been with the Expos for the past 6 years on television only, and I thought it was just a natural progression to try radio, and things have worked out well. Of course, here in the Plattsburgh area, you'll be able to hear Dave and myself on WEAV, and certainly I know there's a lot of Expo support in this area, and hopefully the fans will either get up to the Big O to see us or check us out on WEAV radio.
And I imagine it's kind of fun for a former Major League player to keep in touch with baseball in this fashion.
It certainly is. It's sort of like a natural progression as far as my career was concerned. Before I became a baseball player, I was a baseball fan, as all youngsters are. I was just one of the fortunate ones that had an opportunity to play in the major leagues. And having been such a fan and up on all my favorite players' numbers when I was a kid, going into the broadcast booth, I'm just doing the same things again as when I was a youngster, although now I'm getting paid for it.
And I'm sure that you remember those days of Jerry Park, where really a lot of Plattsburgh people got their first love of the Montreal Expos from the days of Jerry Park. Anything in your heart about Jerry Park?
Well, one thing I remember in particular about Jerry Park was the closeness of the fans. I think there was sort of a carnival atmosphere. In the days that I was there, the Expos weren't really counted on to win the division as they are now, or be subjected to real pennant pressure as they are now. The Expos certainly a better team than they were in the early 70s when I was there. But the fact that the fans were so close and they had such a good time at the ballpark, and those days are kind of returning to the Big O because they've restructured the ballpark this year. They're moving home plate closer to the fans, and I think that the fans will enjoy the game that much more.
Thanks very much, Ken, and if we're not up at the ballpark, we'll be listening.
Thank you very much.
And now I'm with Dave Van Horn, longtime Expos announcer. And Dave, where's home for you during the off season?
Well, I split my time between home that I maintain in Florida and Montreal. So I take a good deal of time off in Florida, but I also spend some time in Montreal during the winter to do some public relations work for the ball club.
And when you're at home, we know that the ball players, when they go home during the off season, they might keep busy a little bit, keeping in shape. How do you find yourself spending your time?
I usually get out of shape in the off season, but no, I play tennis and do a lot of swimming, and I enjoy my off season. I used to do football and basketball, but it just became too much of a rat race along with the baseball, so I take the winters off now for the most part. But I do quite a bit of work for the ball club, so it's enough to keep me busy, and actually the off season goes by very fast. By the time you take a little vacation and get the holidays out of the way, spring training's just around the corner.
It's hard to believe, even though the weather's awful chilly, it's hard to believe it's almost time for baseball. I wanted to ask you what things have happened during the off season with the Expos that have you a little bit excited for 91 baseball?
Well, I suppose the biggest thing that happened was the fact that the Expos were able to re-sign and keep Dennis Martinez, and that really keeps the pitching staff intact. because the strength of the club last year certainly was its pitching, and it was expected to be a weakness. But with Dennis Martinez and Oil Can Boyd, two veterans anchoring the starting rotation, that really makes life a lot easier for the youngsters on the pitching staff. Chris Nabholz, along with Mark Gardner and Brian Barnes. Brian here visiting in Plattsburgh. They'll make up the starting rotation. So I think the signing of Dennis Martinez to keep the veteran, the proven performer on the staff was a very big move by the ball club. And of course the trade, sending Tim Raines to the White Sox and acquiring Barry Jones and Ivan Calderon. And Jones is really going to solidify what was already a strong bullpen. And Calderon will play left field, and he had very good numbers, drove in runs, scored runs, and stole some bases. So along with the good defensive outfield that the Expos have, they feel they've picked up some runs in Ivan Calderon. And that was really the only problem for the club last year, because they were a good defensive club and they pitched well. They just didn't score enough runs. So hopefully Calderon will be the one, along with a comeback from Andres Galarraga, that will really turn things around offensively for the team.
All of this talk's getting us anxious for baseball, and we'll be looking forward to your call of up, up, and away. Well, now we've got Jeff Berman and Scott Neverett from Plattsburgh, and here they are hanging around trying to get some Expo autographs. And how have you done so far?
Pretty good.
Who have you got?
Larry Walker and Brian Barnes, Marquise Grissom, Otis Nixon.
And you did the same?
Yeah, same.
And I see you have some stuff here. Could you grab something and just show us what you've been getting signed?
Larry Walker, Marquise Grissom, rookie collage. Same thing right here.
And these are pictures from where? Where'd you get these pictures?
Expo magazine. Yeah, just a magazine.
Okay, so it's fun for the young and old here at Surrey Lounge in Plattsburgh, Hometown Cable. I'm Foxy Gagnon. Now we've got one of the Expo's promising stars, Brian Barnes. Brian's a fourth-round draft pick, 1989 draft out of Clemson University. And you know, Brian, I met you the summer of '89, your first day in professional baseball. You didn't even have a uniform yet. It was in Niagara Falls, and you had just arrived, and the coach pointed you out. Go over and talk with that guy and take his picture, because that's a guy to watch. Did you expect so quickly to get to the major leagues?
Well, I kind of felt like I was farther along with my off-speed stuff than most pitchers coming out of high school and college. But I really, you always have that desire to make it as quick as you can, but still you have to second guess on yourself too, whereas to every level it's a new experience, and you're going in thinking, can I do it at this level? And after I had such a good year in AA and kind of established myself, I felt like I could do it if I had a shot in the big leagues. And with an unfortunate fortune for me when Martinez got hit by the line drive and I got my chance, and I think it really built a lot of confidence going into next spring training.
Now, some of the people that I've talked with so far this evening have said Brian Barnes is in the starting rotation for the '91 season. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think that's too true. I think a lot of people right now are saying if the lineup was set tomorrow, maybe so, but spring training is a whole new ball game, and anything can happen there. So I'm really starting to work out. I mean, I've been running and stuff in January, and I'm going down with a really positive frame of mind to try to win a position and to stay in the big leagues all year long. That's my goal.
If my research is right, you led all of organized baseball in strikeouts. Now, that's saying a lot. What are the pitches that you use as your key pitches?
Well, my fastball, curveball, and changeup are my three pitches, but my changeup is really my best one, just simply because I have good command of it. I can throw it behind an account. But my curveball is the pitch when I'm ahead. I'm going to try to get a strikeout with it. And my fastball is very improved since I've joined the organization. I think I lost a lot of confidence in college in my fastball, whereas you give up a lot of hits on good pitches with your fastball with the aluminum bat. So I lost a lot of confidence, but the past year and a half I've really worked hard on using my fastball in situations, and I think that's really helped me along a lot also.
I'm a baseball card collector, and I go to a lot of baseball card shows, and I noticed that the most recent one they had in Plattsburgh, that people are running around looking for Brian Barnes rookie cards, figuring this might be a good investment and trying to get as many as they can. What do you think about something like that?
Well, it's kind of it's a good feeling, but and it's a good feeling when you just see your first major league card. That was also a good feeling. But back in my hometown, it was a hometown of 20,000 people. The people really support me there, and I'm the first Major League Baseball player out of the town. So, during the off season when the cards first came out, I really saw a lot of people running around getting cards, and it really gives me a good feeling down inside knowing people behind me like that.
And we'll be there at Olympic Stadium during the '91 season. Looking forward to a good season. Good luck, Brian.
Thank you.
We're now with Pat Condon, Tom Condon's wife, and I see you're kept busy tonight. What is this all about?
Actually, we made this card up, and we're going to try to send it to the Persian Gulf, and we're trying to get everyone here to sign it. It's from the Clinton County Chamber of Commerce and the Montreal Expos.
Great idea. And as many people as you can are signing this.
Yes, I can.
Did you ask the players as well?
Oh, they were the first to sign.
Terrific. Maybe we can tilt it up a little bit in a moment, just to show what this is all about. And it's even been signed by Bob Venn. It's Mario Goslin on the organ, and the room has filled with local sports fans, specifically Montreal Expos fans. Everybody's starting to catch baseball fever. All this talk about the latest trade and the upcoming season promises to be a good year for the Montreal Expos. And of course, this is Roger Barnard. He's assistant manager of Midas Muffler in Plattsburgh, but also very well known as an athlete in the local area and a strong supporter of local sports. And what brought you out for today's occasion, Roger?
Well, I'm not particularly a Montreal Expos fan, but I do enjoy baseball, and anything to support it that I can do, I like to do.
And do you get up to Olympic Stadium at times during the season?
I've been to a few games. I went when they had Jerry Park, and I've been up to the new stadium a few times. If the Mets come to town or something I really like, I like to go up and see them.
So many people here in this area are Yankee fans. Do you count yourself among a Yankee fan?
Have to admit, I like the Yankees. Even Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner's gone. I like him a little better now, but I've always liked the Yankees.
Okay, that's Roger Barnard, and we're going to talk with a few more people that are out for this shindig tonight. And we're with Bill and Pat from C.I. Witten, and tell us a little bit about what brought you out for tonight's occasion.
Well, we both enjoy going to the Expo games, and this is the first time we've had a chance to see them up real close.
It is kind of exciting to see some of these players. And are you a baseball fan as well?
Well, the Expos I am.
Are you? So you know when we say Otis Nixon and Larry Walker, you know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite player on the Expos?
Not really.
Tough question. Mine is probably Andres Galarraga, and there's a lot of hope that he'll rebound for a great season in '91. How about yourself?
Same way. I feel the same way. I hope he rebounds this year.
So we've got Expo fans ready for baseball.
At the Expos, and he's been entertaining us tonight, and boy do we have a show for you tonight. What a great turnout. There's still room over here on the other side, so those of you that are over at the bar that are still over there, you can keep coming around. We have a bar access on both sides. Before we introduce what you're all waiting for, all the great Expo players that came down, I'd like to make a couple of introductions. For those of you that are here on the board of directors, I'm going to name your names, raise your hands, because it's always great to see all the board of directors that show up. As I say your name, raise your hand. Here we go. Leo Trombley, Jade Stanton, who is our president this year, Herb Carpenter, Vicki Duffett, Bob Duquette, Ruth Murphy, Bill Smith, Joe Curtis, Bob Clark, Hope Coyer, and Brian Lapierre. It's great to see all the board members out here, and as they raise your hands, if you have any questions about the chamber, those are people to talk to, as well as the Ambassadors Committee. We have a great turnout tonight from our Ambassadors Committee. All the ambassadors, wave your hands. These are the people that put together these great fun events. Yeah, those guys know how to have a good time. Would also like to introduce Alan Booth, who was our Small Business Person of the Year, and George Bissell, I believe, is here, and he was our Business Person of the Year. Great to see a great turnout tonight. And also, you can start planning on February 20th. Our next Business After Hours is going to be sponsored by Design, and it's going to be at Anthony's. So put that on your calendar. We'll see you then. What I'd like to do now is turn it over to Tom Condon, who is known by probably everyone in this crowd. Tom is a well-known North Country native who has done a tremendous job of letting us all know about the Expos. He has been a mainstay at all of our Business After Hours and is always telling us about how great the Expos are and keeps us right up to date on what's happening. Now I'd like to introduce Tom Condon.
Thanks a lot, Amy. The Expos want to know how much I'm paying you to say all those nice things about me. Well, let's get on with the show. I'd like to introduce a gentleman that I have been listening to on radio since I was a little puppy, and I think you all know him. We listen to him in this area on WEAV radio, and I'm sure that he's going to be a familiar name when you hear it. It's Dave Van Horn. Dave?
Tom, thank you. Hi, everybody. It is a real pleasure to be here to come down and visit with all of you. We've got quite an entourage and some introductions I'd like to make for those in the back. If you can make your way around here, I'd like you to meet, first of all, the Expos, our Vice President of Marketing, Michelle Legacy. Michelle, would you step out for just a moment? VP Marketing, Expos. The Expos Sales Director, Ron Martineau. Public Relations Director of the Montreal Expos, Pierre Vidal. Pierre? Our Assistant Coordinator Promotions, beginning her first year in the front office, one of the wonderful, young, talented members of the organization. The Expos are young, they are talented. Just named last week, again, Baseball America's Organization of the Year, 2 out of the last 3 years. And I'd like you to meet the Assistant Coordinator for all of Expos Promotions, Claudine Cook. Claudine? Representing Petro Canada, along with the Expos, are conducting the Caravan, the public relations tour in Canada and the United States this year, George Springate, an old friend. George? And yes, if you are asking yourself, is that the George Springate that used to kick field goals for the Montreal Alouettes? Yes, it is. The same George Springate. And if you're saying, is that the same George Springate that used to be a Montreal cop? Yes, it is. The same. If you're saying, wasn't there a George Springate and sat in Parliament? Yes, that's the same George Springate. He's run out of things to do and he's come over to our side, the good guys, with the Expos. Representing Petro Canada, George Springate. Our technical crew. You have already met Mario Gosselin. He is the Olympic Stadium organist. You enjoy his talents when you're at the stadium. You've had a chance to hear him again tonight. Mario? And our 3 technicians here, Serge Vaillancourt, André Denis, Jean-Noël Perrault, and our photographer, André Watt. They're all here. After Duke Snyder retired, for some reason or another, it became a very difficult thing for me to land a partner. For a couple of years, Jim Fanning worked with me and then went on to other things for a couple of years. Joey Trupiano worked with me, and then he went back to Houston. The Expos have been searching for someone that'll stay with me for a few years. And today, the Expos announced just this morning that my new radio partner, and I hope for years and years to come, will be my television partner, Ken Singleton. Kenny? I'm going to have Ken help me with the introductions here, but I want to tell you how thrilled I am to have this man as my radio partner as well, because we've had such a ball doing the television games together. And of course, we go back quite a ways to the years when Ken came up and played with the Expos.
Maybe we shouldn't tell him how far, Dave.
And we won't tell you when that was. No. You know that he went on to a very illustrious career with the Baltimore Orioles, performed in 2 World Series, had a highly distinguished career, began his radio and television career actually in Baltimore, but gained prominent exposure through his work on the series of Expos cable telecasts, TSN, and then added the CTV telecasts. And this year, Ken and I have every network in Canada blanketed because Expos games will be on CBC, CTV, and TSN. So we're going to be doing something like 50 television games in addition to the radio games, which are, of course, broadcast here on WEAV, a station that has been with us since year 1, 1969. And we're happy to be back on WEAV again this year. So Ken, I'm going to leave it to you to begin introductions because they're listed in no particular order, but just by coincidence, a former teammate of yours with Montreal is number 1 on the list.
Well, Dave, I was going to say I had the pleasure of working with you the last couple of years on television, but another gentleman that I had the pleasure of working with on the field, and we go back quite a ways. Maybe I won't want to say what year that was either, but my first year in professional baseball at Winter Haven and with the Mets organization and A-Ball, the Florida State League, by the time I got there, this man was already a grizzled veteran, and I took a lot of advice from him. Of course, he might have other ideas about that, but about halfway through the season, the Mets organization decided that this man should become a pitcher. And that was one of the best decisions the Mets ever made, and maybe one of the worst ones they ever made, was to trade him. Well, Steve Renko, back in 1967 with Winter Haven, about halfway through the season, they made him a pitcher. He went on to be 8-1 for the rest of the year, although he also led our team in home runs that year, so that tells you what type of hitter he was. He had been a first baseman, he went to pitching and had great success. He went on to the major league, spent 8+ years with the Montreal Expos, pitched 3 one-hitters during his time with Montreal, and you can tell you're getting a little bit older when you find out that your son has been signed by the Montreal Expos. Last year, the Expos signed Steve's son, Steve III, and hopefully he'll turn out to be as good as his dad. Steve Renko. There was a time, sure, those of you who followed the club back then in '69, the early '70s, you know that we really didn't have a very good club, but because we had people like Steve Renko and Bill Stolman, and then starting in '72, Steve Rogers, those 3 guys pitching for us, why we were a respectable team, along with Kenny Singleton and his contributions, and Ron Fairley, and of course Rusty. People like that made us respectable. But day in, day out, for 8+ years, Steve Renko was there taking the ball every 4 days, the leader of the pack. Good to see you again too, Steve. The Expos each week during the course of the Caravan are bringing one of the players that was with the club in the early years back to be part of the PR tour. Now from the veteran Steve Renko to a youngster, just a couple of years off the campus of the University of Clemson, drafted number 4 by the Expos. And he was a little guy with a lot of heart and a lot of talent who made a rapid rise through the minor league system. And if anybody ever asks you the question, in the year 1990, what player led all of professional baseball in strikeouts, you may want to think of that guy, Ramon Martinez out at Los Angeles, or you may think of Roger Clemens, you may even think of Nolan Ryan, but in fact, the guy who led all of professional baseball in strikeouts is here tonight. He'll be a big part of the Expos starting rotation in 1991. Meet Brian Barnes. Brian struck out 236 batters last year. Well, as we move on to yet another veteran, it seems I'm the one that gets all the veterans, but this is a gentleman that I had another opportunity. It seems like I played with everybody who was here. But 1 year, I had the opportunity to play with this gentleman. Tommy Harper was already an established ball player when he joined the Orioles in 1976. He was one of the players that Earl Weaver liked to call his deep depth, a player who was a role player, who did the job against left-handed pitchers who threw hard. Tommy Harper is one of the best fastball hitters ever in baseball history, and he's also one of the few players in the history of the game to attain the 30-30 circle, 30 home runs in a year, along with 30 stolen bases. He did that back in 1970 with the Milwaukee Brewers, and now he spends his time as the first base coach of the Montreal Expos, Tommy Harper.
Fastball hitter, and we put him beside one of the best curveballs in the National League, Brian Barnes. This next fella just missed out on National League Rookie of the Year honors. Dave Justice didn't start the season with the Atlanta Braves, but he sure finished with them, and he did have a magnificent year. But the Expos and their fans are equally as proud of the rookie right fielder, because he had to come back. Because just 2 years ago he tore his knee up terribly, and some people felt he may not ever play again. Not only did he come back to the major leagues, but he won the right field job. He produced home run and stolen base numbers like no rookie has produced for the Expos since Andre Dawson's rookie year. He hit 19 home runs and had 21 stolen bases, was one of the top defensive players in the league, and in right field one of these years you are going to see him awarded a Gold Glove. Looking for a big year with the bat and continued outstanding defense from the young man from British Columbia, Larry Walker, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one thing that I want to add is the fact that, we saw Larry Walker go into the corner, we saw him charge balls, we saw him race into the gap, we saw him climb the wall and make catches. He can catch the ball. But he has brought with him tonight the finest catch he's ever made and ever will make, his wife, Krista. Krista?
We heard Dave mention about the young talent that the Expos have. Certainly, they're the envy of other major league organizations, a number of young players, not only already at the big league level, but throughout their minor league system. And one of the young outfielders that came up last year did a fine job for the Expos, maybe a couple of setbacks, a broken finger, a broken nose. But he did produce numbers like 22 stolen bases, which made him one of 5 members of the Expos that reached a 20 stolen base mark. And certainly a bright future for this young man who hit .257 last year, played winter ball in Escogido, the Dominican Republic, for the 2nd straight season, and certainly gained more valuable experience down there. Of course, I'm talking about a youngster who had his home run last year against the Pirates was a game winner off Stan Belinda, the 9th inning, I believe, or extra innings, and I was thankful for it because it meant that we didn't have to spend extra time up in a booth, but everybody got to go home a little bit earlier than they thought. Of course, I'm talking about Marquise Grissom. Marquise, would you come out, please?
One of the reasons why the Expos are a good club is their defense and their speed. And when it comes to defense and speed, I don't think there's any question in our minds that the Expos possess tremendous talent in center field. In this league, in these times today, with the artificial surfaces, you've got to be able to go and catch the ball, and the Expos do that as well or better than anyone. One of the reasons why is they have the best 4th outfielder in the National League. He doesn't play every day, but he plays a lot. He played enough last year to lead the club with 50 stolen bases in just 231 at-bats, a major league record. He is a veteran and one of the leaders on the team. He would have set another record this year for most stolen bases, number of at-bats, no home runs. He hadn't hit one since 1985, but he blew that record because in August in San Diego he hit a home run. Otis Nixon, ladies and gentlemen.
another member. See how fast he is? You can hardly see him. Another member of the Expos traveling party, certainly a valuable member. It comes out early and throws batting practice, and one of the reasons his arm is still strong is because of the fact that he spent parts of seven major league seasons in the major leagues, primarily with the Atlanta Braves, and right now he's the Boston Braves? Yeah. Boston? Let's try Atlanta. He's not that old. How about Milwaukee too, all right? Ron Pichet, public relations representative and a member of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. What was it, Ronnie? Milwaukee and Atlanta, right? Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Atlanta.
Yeah, the old-timers probably remember Spawn and Sane in A Day of Rain. Well, it would have been Spawn and Sane and Pichet, but he needed about that much more on that fastball. And the amazing thing is he hung out with Lou Burdett. And that was his close friend and his buddy. And actually, Ron's only 29, but he hung out all those years with Burdett, and it's taken a toll. He was an outstanding competitor. The Expos have had him in the organization since day one as well. We are all excited about 1991 for a lot of reasons. The re-signing of Dennis Martinez, he and Oil Can Boyd to anchor the staff, Chris Nabholz, along with Brian Barnes and Mark Gardner to be the five-man starting rotation, the depth in the bullpen with the acquisition of Barry Jones from the Chicago White Sox, a new left fielder, and Ivan Calderon, a guy that can drive in runs and steal bases. He'll fit right in with the top base-stealing team in the National League, the Montreal Expos. Strong at first and third with Gold Gloves, Andres Galarraga and Tim Wallach. We need a comeback year from Galarraga with the bat. One of the most talented up-and-coming stars in all of Major League Baseball playing at second base, Delino DeShields. The steady Spike Owen at shortstop. Veteran Mike Fitzgerald will anchor the catching core. There's a lot to be excited about. They've changed the ballpark. Wait till you see it. They moved home plate back 40 feet. The fans all around the ballpark are closer. Olympic Stadium used to have a capacity of some 59,000 for baseball. It'll be 43,000 and change this year for baseball. New bleacher seats just above the right and left field fences. No more seats back in those blue sections. And dugout seats behind the home plate area and a good cozy ballpark. It'll be the best baseball park we have had since the renovations started at Olympic Stadium. And a team that's going to play really well in there because it's going to take speed and defense in that ballpark, and they have the making. So we look forward to seeing you there to join us for the 1991 season. We are all breathing easier knowing we're going to be in Montreal and for years to come, and that club is not going to leave. All of the fellas that are here have brought with them color photographs, which they will be happy to autograph for you. They're going to stay around. Ken's got his photographs as well, and we'll stay around as long as you want to talk baseball and collect autographs for yourselves or for the youngsters. And Tom, it seems to me that I may have forgotten something. Could you bail me out? When I ever do these things, I usually do forget something. I have a feeling I have forgotten something, but I'll let Tom take care of that.
Thanks a lot, Ken and Dave. Listen, when we have Plattsburgh Day, you mind if I sit in the booth with you and give a little commentation? Oh, hey, everybody hear that now? Okay, Amy Whitehead, we've got some prizes to give away, and here she comes. Here's this gal that always has all these great things to give away. We're going to ask some of the ball players to come up to draw for this. So, Amy, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and help you out here a little bit. We seem to have a lot of things going.
We have some great giveaways tonight. The first thing we're going to give away is courtesy WPTZ, which is a one-day pass to either Whiteface or Gore Mountain, value of $32. Can we get one of the players to come up and make a drawing?
How about Marcus? Oh, Brian, come on up.
Not a great prize, I wouldn't have.
And the winner is Guy Fenwick from Adirondack Environmental Associates. Okay, next we have a $20 gift certificate for Clark's Florist. Beautiful bouquets. And the winner is Lisa Johnson, Clinton County Youth Bureau. Okay, the next giveaway we have is courtesy of Fred Sungeo. It is a stress management workshop, a value of $65, something that all of us in business could probably use at one point or another. And the drawer is?
I see Tommy Harper.
And the winner is Dan Maynard, Flex Communications.
Right here, you guys.
The next giveaway we have is a season pass for the Plattsburgh Football Club. Yes, folks, we now have football here in Plattsburgh, and this is a season pass. Can we get Larry Walker? Otis, come on up, Otis. We'll let you draw this one. And the winner is Marty Mannix, Northern Insuring. Okay, one quick announcement. Up at the front up here, we do have pre-printed envelopes, courtesy of Speedy Printing. On them, the address to send any notes, anything over to our troops overseas, it's already imprinted on there, so you don't have to worry about what the address is. The envelopes are available free up here at the front, and there's also some information about it. So if you would like to send some notes overseas, stop by at the front. We've got the free envelopes waiting for you. And I've got one more here. Oh, this is the one you're all waiting for. The 50-50, those people that have the little red tickets, this is the time to pull them out. We have today a giveaway of $68. That's cold hard cash, 68. And Larry Walker, can you come up and do a drawing for us? $68. Dig deep. He says he'll take half. We'll see if he'll collect here. All right, the number is 05164660. I think I heard a yes back here in the corner. Is there someone here with that number? Ah, come on up. Lee Kirsten from Jefford Steel. Okay.
Okay, we have now the grand prize, which is a weekend in Montreal with game tickets for the games on Saturday and Sunday. Now, before we give this prize away, the accommodations are courtesy of Kennedy Copeland Travel, which is our official emission outlet in this area. It's sort of like Ticketron, but it is called Emission. This is where you can buy your tickets here in Plattsburgh before you go to the baseball game. You don't have to go up there and wait in line. You can get them here in Plattsburgh, right down on 22 Clinton Street. And Sandy Santor, she's the manager of Kennedy Copeland. I'm going to ask her to come up and bring the overnight certificate for the couple or the person that's going to win. Sandy? Oh, here she is. All right, Sandy, you stand right there. Now, don't you let it get away from me. She didn't want me to do that, and I'm going to catch it tomorrow. Now, I'm going to ask Michelle Agassi, who is our Vice President of Marketing and Sales, to draw the winning ticket for the weekend in Montreal, or the baseball weekend in Montreal. Yes. No, it's a ticket with the... What are those, Michelle? You want to have some fun with that one? Huh? Go ahead. Oh. Now, this goes to a lady that you all know. It's a matter of... It's not rigged. But I hope Judy and Judy will have a great time in Montreal. Come on up, Judy. God, two better people couldn't have lived. And you know, here we have George, who just was Businessman of the Year for the year. Amy, is there anything else you have to do?
Way to go!
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Sarge, did you know about this?
Just before your introduction, you all had a coupon available at the door. Hope you filled it out because we're going to draw for 12 pairs of Expos tickets as well, which we'll do. So if you filled out the coupon, they receive the tickets, right, when we hold the drawing. Also, there was an order form for tickets there, and you might take note if you do plan to come to Olympic Stadium this summer, especially early in the season, if you use that order form that you were given tonight and get the order in early, I think it's, what, like mid-March or March 18th, something like that, there's like a $2 discount on your ticket, per ticket on that coupon. And what else did we want to mention? Yes, we would send you the tickets. You can mail the coupon in. The tickets will be sent to you at a $2 discount if you order soon. Have we covered that? And anything else? The very item that I forgot. And it's now dawned on me what I forgot, but you have the honors.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave. It's not too often that you pass the mic to me. Oh, incidentally, one other person that works with the Expo, and she sort of like stays in the back of the scenes, but she's a great help to me. I think you've seen her around, and this is my wife. She's walking around with this crazy postcard. Pat, would you bring that up here, please? Come on. I want everybody to see this, so to make sure that we... Last night we were talking about what can we do special for our troops in the Persian Gulf. So she made up this postcard. If you haven't had a chance to sign it, please do before you go. And we're going to ask the Plattsburgh Air Force Base to send that over special on one of their KC-135. So be sure you get to see her and put your best wishes on it for our troops that are overseas. Thanks a lot. We're missing someone tonight. We are missing someone from the Expo Caravan. I'm just trying to figure out who the devil we mix. Ken or Dave or 8 players? Are we missing someone here tonight? Who? Yoop? Who? Youpie. Now, if we want Youpie, we've got to bring Youpie in. So on 3, let's say Youpie. Would you help me bring him in? 1, 2, 3. Youpie. One more time. Let's bring him in. Youpie. All right, here he is. This crazy monster from Montreal. Let's hear it for him. Youpie. Let's give him a big hand. Big hand. All right, let's hear it for him. Get him going because he needs a little encouragement. A little encouragement. Oh, I love him. God, he does that to me all the time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I guess, Amy, that brings our show to a close. The players, Youpie, and all the management are going to be here for the next half hour, 45 minutes. So feel free to introduce yourself and to get their autograph. And we hope we see you, all of you, at Expo Stadium next year.
All right, thank you.
And now we're with one of the Expos young stars, Marquise Grissom, who had an outstanding beginning of his career. It had to be a thrill the first time you put on a big league uniform.
Oh yeah, that was my goal growing up as a kid, is to make it to the major leagues. And it was a thrill going out opening day knowing I had a job to play every day, and it was fun. We had a great season.
And does it still become a thrill, or does that wear off after a while?
You reflect on it after a while. You still, you have a job to do, and I think each and every day that I go out there, it's a thrill to go out there and play in front of a numerous amount of people.
You're a great young player in the National League. Have you set any goals for the '91 season?
Every year I try to go out and set some goals and try to meet them at the end of the year. And this year I just want to stay healthy, go out and win me a starting job, and play every day in the big leagues.
Okay, and is this your first time ever in Plattsburgh?
Yeah.
And have you liked this reception? Did you receive a warm reception from the Plattsburgh people?
Oh yeah, it was real nice. We sat down, we had a drink, and the people are very friendly here.
We're looking forward to the '91 season, and you can bet for the Expos, Marquise Grissom will be right there. And now we're with Expos coach Tommy Harper, but baseball fans here in the area will remember him certainly as a longtime Major League ball player. Tommy, what is your role with the Expos?
Well, I'm a first base coach and also base running, and I cover the outfielders in spring training. And it's a job really with the base runners and all the young players we have. It's a busy job.
So many young players. I think it's 15 rookies played for the Expos this past season, and I guess we're looking at a young team still in the future.
Well, we're still looking at a young team. All those players last year will have a year under their belts, but we're still going to have a lot of young players still coming up out of the system. Our organization has been voted Organization of the Year in the minors for the last 2 years. Well, we've won it 2 out of the last 3 years. So we're producing a lot of young players, and it's up to us as coaches to try to get them to the big leagues and try to keep them there.
You had a great major league career yourself, and are there 1 or 2 things that stand out in your mind, Tommy, as really great memorable events or seasons?
Well, the year I went 30-30, I was only the 5th player in the Major League history to hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases in the same season. So I was the 5th player in history, so that made me feel quite good at that time. The club is getting crowded now. A lot of players are doing it.
Well, we see gathered around us some good young players in the major leagues, but they're learning from one of the greats of the major leagues of the past, Tommy Harper. Could you come and talk? What is your first name? And now we're with Larry Walker, Expos outfielder, and his wife Krista. And if you don't mind, I'll talk to Larry first. Larry, first, people have always talked about that knee injury. Is it 100%?
I have to say, yeah. After the AAA, I stole 36 bases. That pretty much convinced me that it was okay. I don't know if it's 100%, but it's pretty close.
With your 19 home runs, you tied a rookie record for the Expos, which was set by Andre Dawson. You had, I believe, around a 240 or 250 batting average. As a potential big power hitter in the National League, do you think about the power or do you think about the batting average?
I think the big thing on my mind going out there every day is not producing and putting big numbers, is just staying healthy and being consistent, and I'll let the numbers take care of themselves. So come October, we'll see how I do.
And how do you see the, I don't want to put you on the spot, but how do you see the Expos outfield situation as you go into spring training? I know Tim Raines was traded.
Well, there again, you don't know what's going to happen in this game. Funny things can happen. I made the team. I wasn't expected to do that last year, so we're all going to go into spring training, play hard, and let Buck make the decision once camp's over.
Thank you. And Krista, where is hometown for you?
Wherever he takes me.
You're getting to enjoy the life of a major leaguer and a major league wife. How do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it. It has its ups and downs, but I always try to look at the up parts of it, and I think it's an exciting life.
Have you been in Plattsburgh ever before, or have you ever heard of Plattsburgh?
Yeah, we come over here to shop every once in a while, which is nice.
Terrific. Well, I'm sure we'll see you at the ballpark.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And now baseball fans from the Jerry Park days will certainly recognize Steve Renko, one of the Expo great pitchers from the past. And here they put me on sort of a platform. I'm 5'6", and I've had to interview Ken Singleton and Larry Walker and now yourself. Steve, what are you doing now that you're retired from baseball?
Well, I'm living in Kansas City. I work commercial real estate and residential real estate in Kansas City. I've been doing that for about 6 years.
And you've joined the Expos Caravan for a week.
Yeah, it's fun to do these things. I've done it before, and the Expos do a good job of doing it. Plus, I've got a son with the Expos now, and it's promotional, and it's a lot of fun to get around and see people we met years and years ago.
As I stated earlier to, I believe, Dave Van Horn, we really got a love here in the Plattsburgh area. We got an initial love of the Montreal Expos by way of Jerry Park. And what do you remember about the days of Jerry Park?
Well, you remember a lot of things. You remember the short right field fence and the swimming pool in the back, and all the people that were out there, and the people that you've met and talked to, and still have friends, that went to ball games. It was a love affair that, you never forget. The first 4 or 5 years, I was here 8 years, and the first 4 or 5 years were great. And gosh, you remember those years.
Well, with Montreal, twice you won 15 games, which is really saying a lot. I mean, if you would have been with a contender, those would have been 20-win seasons. Do those kind of things enter your mind?
No, not at all. The opportunity to play in the major leagues was what everybody dreams of, and I got it in Montreal, and there's no regrets. I might have lost 15 or 20 games with a Hey, Pichet. Pichet.
There's your name right there.
Hey, Ron PJ, come on up, please. Would you reach in there and draw some tickets for a lucky winner? Just one, Ron. Here's a guy that comes to Plattsburgh all the time.
Troy Getz from Plattsburgh.
Troy Getz from Plattsburgh. He's right here. I think maybe some of these people didn't realize they're going to give this away tonight. Oh, there he is. All right, congratulations, Troy. We'll see you at the big O. I'm going to start here. These things are getting away from you. Hey, Otis, don't you sit over there and look at me like that. Come on up, Otis. How about drawing for us, please? Here's another guy that comes down to Plattsburgh an awful lot. He likes to go over to the mall and buy those super records and everything. He's a real music man. All right, real fan of Plattsburgh.
John Montague.
John, okay, lucky guy. All respect him for it. You take care. Okay, who's next on the board here? Who's sneaking away on me over here? Hey, Marcus! Marcus. Come on up here, Marcus. Come on up and draw for a couple of tickets.
It's been a great affair here at the Surrey Lounge, and the Expos Winter Caravan has just about wrapped up. They're awarding final prizes. I do want to say that we were sort of shoved out of the way. Our cameraman Bob Venn was pushed out of the way as we tried to wrap up the interview with Steve Renko, but we had a great time. We want to thank our viewer patrons, thank everyone for watching. We want to thank our cameraman Bob Venn, and we'll be looking forward to seeing the Expos at Olympic Stadium, Baseball 91. We're ready once again for Midas Mud Inn's Adult Basketball League play. This is Foxy Gagnon and Calvin Castine on camera from Morrisonville. And we have Corrado's Construction, Corrado's in the light shirts, and that's Jeff Passano with the left-handed hook for 2 for Corrado's. They are 4-4 on the season. Coming down is Jim Wood hitting for Lockrose. Lockrose has a 1-7 record, so they're looking to improve on that in this ball game against Corrado's. Rocky Drillette will cover the general rule changes once again. This is Joe Porcelli with a 3-point try, and Tom Anderson brings the ball up for Lockrose. Jim Wood, it falls, and Wood has 2 quick baskets. Lockrose leads 4-2. Lonnie Cleland with the rebound. And that's Bob McCory, former Saranac Central School standout. I'm not sure if that was a 2-pointer or a 3. Calvin's that was a 3-pointer. Thanks to help here, Jane Way